Good afternoon. My greatest Olympic prize by Jessa Owens. Jessa Owens, who was born in 1913 and died in the year 1980. Remains an inspirational name in the history of the Olympic. He was an American track and field athlete. He won four gold medals in the year 1936 Olympic in Berlin and set a running broad jump world record that stood for 25 years. Owens won three events in 1933 National Interscholastic Championships in Chicago while attending high school in Cleveland. Owens was very talented athlete who excelled in top 100 and 200 meters runs, the long jump and the relay. His record speaks for itself despite suffering from back pain from a fall down the stairs. He was able to break three world records in less than 1 hour at the Big Ten Championships in Michigan in 1935. It is still an accomplishment that has never been matched. Owens' performance in 1936 Berlin Olympic has become legendary for both his outstanding gold medal performance in the 100 and 200-meter runs, long jump, and 4 into 100 meters relay, as well as for events of the track. Jess Owens shared his underprivileged youth, his expertise, and was a much sought after speaker and trainer among the youth. In 1979, President Carter presented him with the Living Legacy Award. This is the a prose by Jess Owens about his Olympic prize. Where he speaks about his sportsmanship, he speaks about his own experience, his hardworking, and in it we have a reference of the Nazi movement and 1936-1935 Olympic Games, and later on a part of the racism that one can observe in the given prose. Okay, come to our prose. My greatest Olympic prize by Owens. The short story My Greatest Olympic Prize, written by Jesse Owens about 1936 Summer Olympic, is compelling portrayal of sportsmanship and the strength of human connection that transcends racial and national boundaries. It offers us some very significant lesson about race, friendship, sportsmanship, discipline, and most importantly, the power of human connection. It offers us some very significant lessons about race, friendship, sportsmanship, discipline, and most importantly, the power of human connection. It also gives us a view into the political context prior to the World War II, through personal experience. Jesse Owens, one of the most accomplished Olympians in history, was a person of color who endured a significant degree of racism throughout his life. Owen is acutely aware of the significance of his because of his identity as a black athlete. Nazi Germany's racial blasses, uh, yes, and Hitler conceited belief in the superiority and Nazis. This biased mind. However, as Owen steps onto the track for the trials, he leaps a few inches past the takeoff board and commits a foul. He is about to lose it when he feels a touch of his shoulder. Owens turns to face the tall German board jumper Long, who extends a solid handshake, long cheers up his opponent and gives him comfort by inquiring as to what is wrong with him. In spite of being surrounded by propaganda and stories of hatred in Nazi Germany, Long seems to have retained his ability to reason. It was the summer of 1936. The Olympic Games were being held in Berlin. Because Adolf Hitler childishly insisted that his performers were members of a master race. Nationalistic feelings were at an all time high. It was too worried about all this. I do train, sweatened, and disciplined myself for 6 years with the games in mind. While I was going over on the boat, all I could think about was taking home one or two or of these gold medals. I had my eye especially on the running board jump a year before as in the Ohio state. I do set the world record of 26 feet 8.1 by 4 inches. Everyone kind of expected me to win that Olympic event hands down. I was in for a surprise when the time came for the broad jump trials. I was startled to see a tall boy hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps. He turned out to be a German named Long. I was told that Hitler had kept him under wraps, evidently hoping to win the jump with him. I guess that if Long won, it would add some new support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. After all, I am a Negro, a little hot under the collar about Hitler's ways. I determined to go out there and really show Der Führer and his master race who was superior and who wasn't. An angry athlete is an athlete who will make mistakes, as any coach will tell him. I was no exception. On the first of my 3 qualifying jumps, I leaped from several inches beyond to take aboard for a fool. On the second jump, I fooled even worse. Did I come 3,000 miles for this? I thought bitterly to fall out of these trials and make a fool of myself. Walking few yards from the pit, I kicked disgustedly at the dirt. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned a look into these friendly blue eyes of a tall German broad jumper. He had easily qualified for the final on his first attempt. He offered me a firm handshake. Jesse Owens, I am Luz Long. I don't think we have met. He spoke English well, and though with a German twist to it. Glad to meet you, I said. Then, trying to hide my nervousness, I added, how are you? I am fine. The question is, how are you? What do you mean? I asked. Something must be eating you, he said, proud the way foreigners are when they have mastered a bit of American slang. You should be able to qualify with your eyes closed. Believe me, I know it. I told him, and it felt good to say that to someone. For the next few minutes, we walked together. I didn't tell long what was eating but he seemed to understand my anger, and he took pains to reassure me. Although he too been schooled in the Nazi youth movement, he didn't believe in the Aryan supremacy business any more than I did. We laughed over the fact that he really looked the part, though an inch taller than I. He had a lean and muscular frame, clear blue eyes, blonde hair, and stringly handsome. Look, he said, why don't you draw a line a few inches in back of the board and aim at the making you your take off from there. You will be sure not to fall, and you certainly ought to jump far enough to qualify. What does it matter if you are not first in the trials? Tomorrow is what counts. Suddenly, all the tension seemed to ebb out of my body as the truth of what he said hit me. Confidently, I drew a line a full foot in a back of the board and proceeded to jump from there. I qualified with almost a foot to spare. That night I walked over the Luz Long room in the Olympic Village to thank him. I knew that if it hadn't been for me, I probably would not be jumping in the final for the following day. We sat in the quarters and talked for 2 hours about track and field, ourselves, and world situation, a dozen of other things. When I finally got up to leave, we both knew that a real friendship had been formed. Luz would go out to the field and next day trying to beat me if he could, but I knew that he wanted me to do my best, even if that meant my winning. As it turned out, Luz broke his own past record. In doing so, he pushed me on to a peak performance. I remembered that at the instant I landed from my final jump, the one which set the Olympic record of 26 feet 5 5 slash 16 inches. He was at my side congratulating me, despite the fact that Hitler glared at us from the stands not 100 yards away. Luz shook my hand hard, and it wasn't a fake smile with a broke heart sort of grip either. You can melt down all the gold medals and cups I have, and they couldn't be plating on the 24 carat friendship I felt for as long at the moment. I realized them too that Luz was the epitome of what Peary, founder of the modern Olympic Games, must have had in the mind when he said, the important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering but fighting well. This is the our lesson that is about the Olympic, my greatest Olympic prize. Here, how our writer Jesse Owens won the gold medal in the long jump. Here he speaks about the sports, he speaks about the sportsmanship, he speaks about the values of the friendship, he speaks about his own friendship with the Les Long. He portrayed here is the we have the portrayal of the sportsmanship in the given story. Here we have about the Nazi movement, 1936 Olympic Games, Aryan superiority, and racism. After all that, this man, that is our Jessa Owens, the writer who belongs to the Negro community, has won the gold in 1936 Olympic. And this is the lesson where we have a good message about the friendship, about the sportsmanship, and about the racism which should be abolished, or the people should here work together so as to stop such a bad things in the society about the racism. With this, I conclude. Thank you. Good day.